once again here at the GSTL, we have a team with one man left standing against an entire team, and that man today is Ryung.
Ryung has to pull it off right now. His team is in dire straits. They are in need of a win. They are in need of 4 wins, actually. The Acer players to the top, Scarlet and MAA, not happy about the development in this team match. But the FXO bench, of course, they are quite cheerful.
Yeah, I spoke to Lenok during the break, and before I could even say anything, he just started flapping his arms like wings and said, Pelican Terran all kill, Pelican Terran all kill. So I guess that's how they feel. Or at least that's how Lenok feels.
Well, the Pelican Terran, as Lenok named him, is really doing a good job today. 3 wins already, and he is about to head into his 4th game. Might perform an all-kill here, might join the ranks of Byan, of Ganzi, and also of Sound. 3 Terran players who already all killed this season.
Yeah, Terran is looking very strong in Heartless form right now.
They definitely are.
So many advancing Terrans in Codes as well. You can see we have Codes coming up, speaking of which, on the 23rd with Parting, Last, Lenok, and Life. A group you absolutely cannot miss.
This group is going to be so awesome. I cannot wait to watch these games.
I mean, listen, like, there's so many people out there who went to their like junior, senior prom. They're like, no, I can't miss that, and they went to that. Trust me, this is much more important. If you miss that, like, you're gonna regret it for the rest of your life. Everybody's been talking about. Did you see Group G? Is it Group G or Group H? I think it's G. It's like, did you see Group G? Everyone's like, yeah, I was there. Of course I was there. Of course I watched it live. And then I was like, well, I just thought it wasn't that important, and everyone's going to shun that person forever.
Talking about being there, one of the things that we pointed out yesterday, but I want to come back to this, is that when you are if you're at the studio here, and if you are listening to us right now, one of the things that you can do is go to the information desk and just sign up with your name and make sure that you participate in the raffle. There is a raffle that happens every single time we have GSTL for the next 2 weeks, where you can win a Heart of the Swarm Collector's Edition. And as soon as those are all gone, then we are going to raffle out 2 normal Heart of the Swarm editions every single time, courtesy of ESF.
Yep, make sure you show up in the studio, especially if you live in Seoul and you're listening to us right now as well. Come next time. We'd love to say hi to you as well.
And we are heading now into our 4th game of the day. Is it going to be another all-kill? It's the 3rd Terran versus Terran today. Is SC going to be victorious once again? Shoya is definitely already feeling the heat, removing his jacket here.
Yeah. The map choice is Red City. And oftentimes you see a player pick an unusual map when he's the first player to go out because, you know, he doesn't know what he's going to face, but he wants to get one map out of the way right away. He knows that he doesn't want to play against Lenok later on if he has to on a good map for Zerg.
Well, we're going to jump into the game in just a few seconds. You can already see our 2 players getting ready here to the right. We have SC, the man of the day of this match, who has already 3 wins under his belt. To the left, we have Ryung.
Ryung is the last man standing. He is the only hope, the last hope for his team. And it's a tough task ahead of him. He is probably the best versus Terran player his entire team has to offer on the bench. See if he can show it today. Be the first Terran to defeat SC. The map is loaded. This is the GSTL. Axiom-Acer versus FXOpen. Ryung, can he do it, or will he fall and SC get 3rd, 4th Terran all kill?
The 4th player of Axiom-Acer starts to the bottom right of Red City. He starts in red, and it is, of course, the last man standing,
Axiom Ryung.
He is up against the player who came back today in televised matches since his hiatus. Is now nearly getting an all-kill. He is
FXOSC.
And for those of you guys who didn't follow Wings of Liberty as closely, or you're kind of a newer viewer, you don't remember this guy. This guy played on the team FOU, which became FXOpen, but he actually left the team around the time they became FXOpen and then joined MVP for a while. So he's actually played with the team MVP quite a bit. And then after leaving StarCraft, after leaving MVP, he came back to his roots, back to FOU, back to FXO. So just a little bit of history about him.
And he's now facing Ryung, a player that Axiom-Acer has sent out in the past against Terran. He's a very strong mirror match player. The last time that we've seen him was in the match against Incredible Miracle. Back then he had to deal with Kangho, aka Lucira, was able to not only defeat Lucira but also MC and edge out the win for his team. But the first time, in the first week, we had Ryang being sent out to face Keen. Keen played the starting match of the day against Alicia and had no problems defeating the strong Protoss player for the Axiom-Acer team. And Ryang, being the Terran sniper that he is, was sent out next and was able to deliver. So he's a 3-1 in the GSTL so far, and once again, his team is depending upon him.
Yeah, we have Ryang going for a faster scout, which is important because he takes his gas late here at 15. And what this probably means we're going to see from him is that Reactor Marine expand that we see in several matchups, but most commonly TVT.
SC, on the other hand, with the double barracks in this game. So very different from what he has shown us so far in the last mirror matches that we've seen today.
And with the double barracks, it's probably just going to be Reapers and more Reapers. And he starts the first Reaper now.
First Reaper is already on the way.
With no tech lab requirement, this is something that you can easily do in TVT. It's going to be scouted right away, though. This is so important for Ryang.
He actually lowers the supply depot so that the second barracks will not be scouted. This is so smart. If the supply depot would actually be up, he would have had to walk to the right and then he would have spotted the barracks. This is so awesome.
Oh my god.
It's such a small detail. Man. It's such a small thing, but it is so incredibly important here. I cannot believe that just happened.
I'm actually like in shock right now.
It looks so insignificant. It really looks so insignificant. And then this one detail lets Ryang to believe that there is only one barracks.
This is going to be really scary because he's going to start his Commancer now and the Reactor at the same time. And that's going to make him so vulnerable because he cannot make Marines while the Reactor is starting. Commancer starts at the top right. And it's going to be 3 Reapers versus 3 Marines for just a moment. And those Reapers will win the fight if they're micro correctly. And then just more and more Reapers rally. And he may be able to end the game with this. But the SCV sees no Commancer. This is very important. He lowers again. Oh, he lowers again. He doesn't see it.
He has no idea.
He will now see, I think.
No, he won't.
If he turns around to the right, he may do it.
But it's already too late. I mean, what can he do right now? The build was hidden already. He has to defend with what he has. There's nothing that he can do at this point to adjust his build anymore. He has to stick it out with the build that he has.
He can't cancel the Reactor.
And there are Reapers everywhere. Finally, the SCV is moving in and is like, oh my god.
Well, here come the first 3 Reapers, and the first 2 Marines from the Reactor are on their way. He needs to buy time with his Marines. He's going to have to pull his SCVs to fight this.
Maybe a bunker. This is all about micro. This is all about micro now. Boom, 2 SCVs are already gone. Oh, the Reapers, they are wreaking havoc in the main base of Ryang, taking down another Harvester.
He wants that Hellion to come out here, but he's a bit late. Whoa, careful there, SC. He may lose one of his Reapers. Nice micro again. Turns around, fires. Will go and recover some of his hit points. The 4th and 5th Reapers are about to appear.
And let's not forget that Reapers are actually not that bad against Hellions.
Yeah, they're not.
They are doing a significant amount of damage. Double command center now by SC. SC's idea here is to go into the double barracks Reaper play, putting a lot of pressure onto his opponent, and then with the safety of this aggression, go into a massive, massive economy.
And what happens after this aggression stops is that there's always the threat of the Reapers. So, you know, he's vulnerable because he has a fast 3rd Commancer, but he knows he's cross spawns. And if there's a big push from Ryang across the map, he can go for a backstab with these Reapers and do a ton of economic damage. So that threat is not really one of his concerns right now. He has to make sure he pulls these back, though.
Yeah, nice shot off against the Hellion, though.
And it looks like he's going to try to break down the ramp now. Against the Concave is annoying. He will lose a few of his units, but he should finally be able to deflect this.
But still, you are so right. Those Reapers, they will be able to do damage later on, and Ryang can never relax, not even for a second. As soon as those Reapers go into the main base, more and more SCVs will just die.
Look at that. He knows he has the strength to pick off a Hellion, just picks it off and runs away.
It's so difficult now for Ryang to just defend 2 mineral lines.
Yeah.
Look
and he's losing more and more units.
The combat drugs are so important for the Reapers now. They regenerate those health points. And look how much damage he already did. 600 minerals lost.
Yep. Looks like he may actually find himself trapped this time, though.
He might find himself trapped, but as long as he kills enough SCVs, that's absolutely okay.
He should have... Ryang should have split his force a little bit there, but now he's just gonna trade here. And like you said, if he trades for enough SCVs, it's worth it, and he does.
Well, the harvesting count is 24 to 32, and those double command centers that we have to the top left are already done. He is on 2 orbitals, and he is upgrading the 3rd.
Yep. He has Stim also on the way, much faster.
Yeah. Ryang is going for the attack right now. He's moving out with his army. He knows that he has to do something. He's not quite sure what's happening to the top left, but he has to do something against SC right now. If Ryang is not able to do damage with this attack, then he's going to fall far behind in the game.
But, you know, SC does not have a lot of units to defend his bunker. Looks like it may barely not complete.
Uh-oh.
He needs some more SCVs down to finish that.
And he does not have a lot of units. There's one siege tank. Siege mode is not... yeah, he chooses to leave the one siege tank not in siege mode, but just tries to chase away those Hellions.
He's going to have to siege it up, though, once he sees those Marines coming down.
Yeah, definitely. So right about that. There comes the drop on the other hand.
And this is so well done by Ryung. He's going to attack from two fronts potentially here.
He has to, but there are Marines in the main base just waiting for the drop.
Nice. He does not actually drop on top of the Marines. He drops on the edge.
Oh, does he get the medevac? Oh my god, this would be horrible.
He wants to get
could
stim.
Get the stim.
Oh, he needs a repair.
The stim is down.
It's definitely going to go down. No way to save that.
Too late. That was really, really important here for Ryung. And a little bit unfortunate, of course, also for SC. That was the wrong barracks to choose for the tech lab.
Yeah, certainly. It was a little bit exposed there. And, you know, a choice like that can actually change an entire course of a game.
On the other hand, let's just look at the game right now. Of course, SC did a lot of damage. The Harvester advantage is still in his favor. And he's in a position where he already has 3 command centers against 2. Ryung is, of course, trying to catch up. He knows what's going on here. And he's getting his own 3rd orbital command. But SC is already so far behind. He's not only taking an overall supply lead, but he is in a position where he can use all the income that he has to get faster upgrades too.
Yeah. Oh wow, this game is really shaping up to be quite interesting, because there was a time where it started to look almost as if we were going to see Ryung go into mech because he was making only Hellions and Vikings. He didn't add any barracks. Now he adds 4. He's getting that stem upgrade out. He's got a late upgrade, as you mentioned before, though, as he had the upgrade out a little bit faster. But the game is so even in a few ways because of the lost stim, and that gives a few timings to Ryung that he could utilize if he wants to be aggressive, to make sure there's no 3rd base.
I have to say that in this situation, Ryung is in a lot of trouble.
He is. I mean, he's got some timings, but how is he really going to utilize those?
He didn't do a lot of damage just yet, and the one advantage that Ryung has is that he went into the double upgrades a little bit faster, but the first upgrade is going to be done for SC in just a second. He's ahead of Ryung in this regard, and he's also completing his 2nd engineering bay and the armory.
Yeah.
So the lead that Ryung at some point will have in upgrades, it's not going to be really significant.
Yeah, and the stim upgrade he has is not important because it's not really that useful to attack a 3rd base that doesn't exist. You know, if there were a 3rd base here that he was running into right now with some of his Marines, he could do some damage. But he's not really able to do that. He's got his own 3rd up, though. Keep that in mind. He has his 3rd landed. He's going to start saturating that right now.
Leonok named SC the Pelican Terran, and the Pelican Terran just put his neck out a little bit, saw the medevac, put the Marines in position, and had no problem defending against the drop. But he's missing a little bit of time here with his double upgrades that he should start.
Yeah, he absolutely needs to do that. This has been a problem for him, actually, in several of the games we've seen. The late armor.
There we go, though. Starting +2 attack and +1 armor.
And that armor upgrade for Ryung is going to be pretty important if they choose to engage. The Marine count very even at this point, 32 to 29, slightly in SC's favor. So SC also has the better tank count right now.
SC is also the one who mines from his 3rd base a little bit faster than his opponent. SC was reluctant to put the 3rd base down. Ryung was mining faster from the 3rd.
But now the transfer is there. There's a drop of units, though, that are going to go run in there and disrupt it.
Oh, they are in the right place at the right time. There's nothing to defend against the drop. That is exactly what Ryung needed here.
He needs to get out of there now, though, but he can go into the main or at least attempt to. There's units way in there. SC is so careful with his drop defense.
But this is so smart, because the thing that really happened here was that this drop was also responsible for the move back of SC's forces. SC was trying to move out and put on some aggression on his own, but the drop made him retreat.
Yeah. Well, the upgrades are really starting to get kind of evened out by SC because there's no 2-2 coming out for Ryung right now. He's missed it. And I do not actually know if he has an armory. I'm going to check that right now. He does.
Both of them have
he does have it. So he could start it at any time. He's a bit reluctant to.
Oh, here we go again. Army supply is very even. Ryung a little bit ahead in the upgrades. Siege up at the bottom, already putting pressure on the refinery.
Yep, that refinery actually will probably be killed. There's no really way for him to save that. He loses a few SCVs as well.
There's the SCVs here, and the medevac is gone to the top left as highlighted by Legend. So the one missile turret took it out. Siege tanks once again trying to get into position to put more pressure onto the mineral line at the 3rd base.
So positional here. He's going to stop mining from the leftmost patch, and it looks like the one right next to it as well.
Here comes the Viking chasing away the one medevac that gave SC vision of the high ground. And SC doesn't have Vikings on his own.
Yeah, he had this problem against MMA, but he just likes to use his Medivacs instead. Is he really going to go for a big drop in the main? This is so smart because the Sensor Tower doesn't cover this.
Yeah, it looks like he's going for it, but we have a few units already positioned at the bottom left. Actually, not only a few there, 2 missile turrets and a lot of Marines. If SC boosts in there...
He's got to be paying attention here.
He doesn't. He doesn't! Oh my god! He can be so lucky that he just lost one.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
He can really call himself lucky here.
He was definitely not focused at that moment in time. He loses a few more Harvesters, though. Ryung, that is.
Yeah, really good scan here, taking down several SCVs.
And also lets him know how many siege tanks are still there. So that was a scan that offered 2 different advantages. Now we're going to see a move out where SC is a little bit clenched up in this tough contain at the base, but if he actually intercepts this and gets us around in this army, this could be horrible for Ryung.
Both of them going for the upgrades right now. We have a slight lead for SC that will be negated in just a few seconds when Ryung's +2/+2 is going to hit. But also SC started the next set of upgrades. So this will even out. SC, on the other hand, is the one who takes now also 4th base. Both of them are trying to do so, but Ryung is the defender.
Yeah, Ryung is the defender right now. The rocks are going to go down, and he wants to break through here.
And he does.
You know, I don't know if this is a good idea, though. He's going into a concave, and his tanks are not siege. This is a poor choice. He has the upgrade advantage
tanks at the front, and suddenly he's being sandwiched.
Yeah, he had the upgrade advantage for a moment, but it was not enough.
Ryung is suddenly ahead in overall supply. Even without the upgrade lead, he was behind in upgrades at the time when the fight happened, but he took it out. The siege tanks for SC were not sieged up, and then we had a beautiful sandwich position for Ryung.
Uh-oh, and if he loses his forces here in the middle of the map, this could be horrible, but he turns around, of course, realizing the force that's there. His watchtower spotted it.
Don't forget about the tanks at the bottom left at the 3rd base. He could actually just drop on top of the siege tanks, and I think he might as well just do that.
Yeah. He probably will take an opportunity to do that very soon. I guess it's not an immediate threat because there's no longer high ground vision.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Marine, but that planetary is going to finish in a second, and then you better get the hell out of there.
Yeah, let's watch that minimap closely. See if he... Nope, he's not moving it.
Nope. Boom.
Ouch.
In your face. Literally.
Now he's going to go clear up those tanks that you were talking about, but this is very positional. And see, he's going to lose these tanks, but he takes this opportunity to take control of the watchtower.
Yeah.
Or at least he attempts to. Can he get it?
Supply lead here for Ryung again. The watchtower is now in possession of SC, but he has to give it up.
Both players scanning here. Neither can take a step onto that actual watchtower.
Upgrade lead now also for the siege tanks for Ryung. He has the +1 attack upgrade faster than his opponent. SC didn't even start.
Yep. Well, here comes the drop. Right on top of, well, not quite right on top of those siege tanks. We'll actually be able to take one of them down, it looks like. Barely not.
Yeah.
This is such a great positional game from these two players.
Definitely. The thing is that Ryung was able to just push SC a little bit back. SC was so aggressive with his position, trying to put more and more aggression onto the 3rd base and then the 4th of his opponent. But Ryung able to not only hold, but also push his opponent back. And finally, with the dropship, is able to take down those 2 tanks in the middle of the map.
Look at that supply count at the bottom. They're both max, but look at the worker count. You can see that SC's army is a little bit weaker. About 15 supply different. That can actually change games. That's 15 supply that could be in 2 medevacs, for example. He's going to even throw away further his SCVs.
He has the better economy, and at some points he might get an advantage out of this, but he also has to make sure that in a fight later on he will still be able to compete with Ryung.
This is all about positioning. This is a great map for Terran versus Terran, and the watchtower is like the no man's land.
And here we have once again the minimap view just showing you especially the sensor towers that we have. A nice coverage here for Ryung, who now moves out with a 1 dropship to the left side.
I love that mini-map that we can see.
It's
awesome.
just so awesome for Terran versus Terran, where position is everything.
There are a few turrets to protect the planetary against that medevac, so he's going to have to skirt across.
And this is exactly what you have to do if you want to move out with your army. You have to have a lot of missile turrets so that you are safe against drops.
This time the Marine will stop the command center. It's a different Marine than last time, but it's a much more successful Marine. Good scan here. And the drop is good. He's going to have to run those SCVs away from the planetary, or at least behind the planetary.
Nice. Not only taking down those missile turrets, but also starting to deny mining at the 4th base. Really important. But SC is trying to get the entire map, and suddenly Ryung decides that it's time for him to move into the siege tanks, taking down 4 of them immediately.
That was a really well done attack.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. And the siege tank count is now once again in favor of Ryung.
Yeah,
He's
massively.
13-6.
That means the Marine count is obviously much better for SC.
Doom
He's using
drop.
it. Doom drop over here. He's got a lift. And he cancels one of his CCs.
Oh, if he focuses, he could have killed it.
Yeah, it looks like he's just trying to react to what's going on in the middle of the map, but still.
I think now it's too late.
Yeah, he could just boost into the main, though, once the army comes around the right side.
You're right, he could. He could also take down a lot of these SCVs, but he realizes it's a little bit too late.
I think it's very important that he gets out of there with that huge chunk of his army, though. If he gets surrounded here...
He could always try to use the Medivacs to just boost into the main base once that Ryung is trying to surround him and put on a sandwich position.
Yeah.
The dangerous part for Ryung is really that SC is expanding all over the map, and this will at some point really enable him to sack SCVs, to rely on a lot of mules, and increase his army supply.
And in upgrades, SC has finally closed the gap, so both players now at 3-3.
Not quite just
Well,
yet,
just
but
in like
a few
about
seconds, yeah.
5
Exactly.
seconds or so, yeah.
As soon as the +3 armor upgrade is done, then we will have them on even upgrades. Also, regarding the tank upgrades.
Ooh, this could be a Ryung sandwich. He's a little bit isolated out there in the middle of the map. He needs a siege! SC is going to lose a huge chunk of his army here, not paying attention. He needs to pick up and boost. He boosts first, picks up, loses a huge chunk of his army. Look at that supply drop, about 25 down instantly.
That was devastating. This was exactly what he talked about earlier. He was a little bit too complacent with his army. But the position here is still good. The siege tank being picked off, but he still has more tanks in the back. Upgrades are identical at this point.
SC needs to be careful about splitting his army up like this. It can be a double-edged sword. Yes, sometimes it can get you great flanks, but if you are the one who's surrounded, your opponent gets a huge lead out of that. And look at how the bank looks right now. That bank that's missing for SC went into that 15 Marines and 2 siege tanks he just started.
Exactly, and also very notable is that he was able to deny mining time for Ryung for quite some time, but the problem really is that Ryung has the better and the cost-efficient trades, but this is really a problem.
Oh, now he gets some SCVs. Well, he goes to the main instead, which is also a great choice. Needs to watch out for the turret, though! Oh!
Bye, Medivac. This is not going to work, but at least he took down the command center. That was very important for him.
Absolutely. Now he's going to go for another base on the right side. He decides against it. There's the Olympic rings of sensor turrets in the middle of the map that make it pretty clear where both players are moving at all times, so there's no secrets here.
I really like the positioning of SC in this game. He's always trying to put pressure on an expansion. It reminds me a little bit of the game that he played against Mia earlier.
Yeah.
Of course, not the same with the sensor turrets that you already pointed out, but it's still the same basic idea that he's trying to apply here.
Uh-oh, this is a bit of an aggressive move out by Ryung. He loses a lot. The Marine supply is always much better for SC. It's 102 right now. I mean, that is a massive amount of Marines. He's treating them like Zerglings at this point.
Yeah, he definitely is, and he's moving in again. He's trying to move in, taking down those tanks. Both of these players are engaging, and Ryung to the top is dealing with the siege tanks, but he's losing quite a lot here, and everything was taken out at the bottom of the map, and suddenly the path is open to the bottom right.
The positioning is the most important part of this, because now he can just go and start destroying these bases, and this is exactly what SC wants. He picks off a tank, and it looks like we may have a base trade, because Ryung needs to do some sort of counter here.
Yeah, but you know what the problem is? The base trade is working in favor of SC. He has much more bases than his opponent, much more orbitals here, but he needs still a few siege tanks on the high ground to deal with this army, and Ryung already has them.
Exactly. This is a big problem for him. This is the same problem that he faced earlier against MMA, but he was able to pull it off with really nice multitasking.
Income is not going to be a problem for SC. He still has bases to the top right that still have not been scouted by Ryung, but he needs to make sure that his production is never being touched.
Yeah, look at the bank or the lack of bank, I should say, for Ryung right now. Oh, he's going to lose some of his siege tanks. He can't afford that. That one medevac is full of Marines, a little bit strange. He's not using it, just using it for vision for now.
SC is pulling ahead in overall supply, Wolf, and he has also more army supply. Still mining to the top right, whereas Ryung is really starting to fall short a little bit. He's trying to establish himself the fourth base again.
Yeah, he's really starving right now, but he's able to force SC's little squad of units to the bottom away a little bit.
Ryung is still 2 mining bases, but it's just like the advantage that SC has at this point. And there's so much pressure that SC tries to apply to the bottom right base. The third base that's actually going down for Ryung here.
He's actually going to be able to clear this up with SCVs. Ryung has a bunch of targets painted for him on the map. These bases that are undefended all over the map, but he's got to keep his army together because he's scared.
He just doesn't know about them. That's his biggest problem. He has no idea that they're there.
That's true as well. He's not been able to scout them, but he has to realize.
Again, a marine flank moving in, trying to maybe even kill this Sworn command center. Not going to work, but as long as he takes out a few SCVs, he's going to be fine.
Look at, he only has 10 minerals. Every single SCV that's used for repair is costing him money. The repair itself is actually taking a toll. on Ryung at this point.
He's down to 37 harvesters. And now we have a flank for SC this time. He's clearing out Ryung's army. This is an FXOpen sandwich. And Ryung is trying to use this momentum or this point in the game to at least take control of the center of the map.
Yeah, now SC has taken out that annoying pestering base that was messing with his production, and he wants to fight head on. But during this, like you said, the center of the map has been taken by Ryung. He has the watchtower, and he still has these sensor towers, all three of them really giving him great vision. There's no way SC can get a surprise flank at this point.
Ryung is on +2 attack for his siege tank, so he has a little bit of an upgrade lead here. But we have still SC with such a great position in the game. He's the one with the supply lead, and he is trying to get this position back in the middle of the map.
Oh, he could go for it now with the tanks run siege, and he does. This would be a massive marine count really coming into play here.
And he's really trying to utilize it. He has also a lot more medivacs than his opponents, and he's using them well.
This is really, really tough at this point for Ryung to hold on to these siege tanks. He will hold for now, but he's lost a lot of his supply. It's much harder for him to afford to replace. Look at the production tab. He can't even afford to remake siege tanks. He can only make marines right now.
Exactly. He has the gas, but the minerals, they are a big problem for Ryung, especially since he is down in harvesters. Not really being this much of a problem to him. We have 41 to 48, but with the extra mules that we have now for SC to the top right, he has of course the much better mineral income with his saturation.
There's a drop on the left side of the map at the 9 o'clock that we haven't really talked about too much. Just a few marines pestering him, so a lot of lost mine time for SC during all of this. He had a great engagement in the middle of the map, but his economy wasn't as stable as it is now that he's cleaned up those drops.
And this is just one of the strengths of Ryung, making sure that his opponent has to deal with something else, and now suddenly he's moving into the middle of the map, taking down all of the siege tanks. A beautiful move by Ryung, dropping to the left side of the map, distracting his opponent, and then moving into the center, claiming once again a good position.
He could kill the rest of this army. This is mostly medevacs in the sky right now. He's got hardly anything on the ground. He has to send the rest of his army, and he was paying attention at this moment as he was attacking the destructible rocks.
This was such a beautiful move, and this might bring Ryung now into a good position in this game. There are more medevacs, there are marines, but if Ryung takes down this base, this would be awesome for him. Finally, he would be able to make sure that SC doesn't have the elite in economy.
This is so smart. SC is actually just ignoring him. He says, well, I have like 6 other bases for you to worry about. You can have that one. I'm going to take control of the middle of the map here and take a better engagement with my marines.
The siege tanks are already being sieged up, and Ryung realizes that he can't move into the center. This is a lot of time lost, and suddenly we have this wedge in the map where now SC is the one who can decide what to do.
Exactly. It looks like he's going to take control of the center like we said earlier. Ryung is a little bit indecisive about what to do with his forces. He's trying to decide, do I commit to this planetary or not? Looks like the answer is yes. SCVs are running away. He just surrenders the planetary.
Yeah, he realizes that this is costing him money at this point. With the SCV repair, this is just costing him money. He's still trying to move in. SC is actually deciding to move into the siege sub tanks, and he's pulling it off, running in from 2 sides at once.
Really well done. Even some marines from the back. He crushes this army, but the supply is dead even.
Yeah.
And for the first moment, he takes a 1 supply lead. Ryung had a supply lead for just a moment there, and you could see that the trades are getting better. He needs a siege!
Oh my god, all of the medivacs are gone, but now the marines are running in with the stim. The siege is not dead just yet. 1 tank in the back, it's doing a lot of damage, and SC is able to once again pull ahead. Those medivacs, he couldn't lose those.
Yeah, look at those red units right there. That's how this game is going to really start to shift a little bit.
12 medivacs against 0.
Yeah, and all those marines are in the red. When the fight starts, they're just going to die instantly. 1 siege tank shot could basically kill all of them.
And think about it, he has to stim again once the fight starts. He cannot just forego stim. That's impossible for him to pull off. So losing all those medivacs, where he was already down on medivacs, is just something that he cannot afford. And he's paying already for it.
Yeah. That was a nice little move there by Ryung, knowing that those marines were going to die instantly, so you just want to get 1 siege tank down.
He scans, and he of course sees what's going on here. 2 medivacs, a lot of marines in the red. Really interesting.
Yeah. And here we go, Stim's in. He wants to end the game now. He's got way more hit points. He has the medevac healing power.
Ryung is dropping in supply, and he's dropping so fast. The meta position here already for SC. He's dropping the meta mules. This is it. This is GG.
GG indeed. And SC is back. He takes the all kill, exactly what FXOpen needed to get back into this season.
SC with the 4th Pennant all kill in the GSTL season. FXO is back on track after losing their first 2 matches. They are now back to business.
Back to business. FXO SC ripping apart 3 Terrans. and becomes now the 4th Terran player in the GSTL to take an all-kill.
Ganzi, Byan, Sound, and SC, all of them all killed. The only non-Terran with an all-kill is a Vampire, calls himself Super now for Team MVP, the Protoss player, also able to achieve 4 wins in a row.
This is the season of all-kills.
Yeah.
It really is. We have never had this many all-kills in the GSTL season before. Obviously, it's a little bit easier to all-kill now because you only have to kill 4 players instead of 5 as it was in the old format, but still.
Very impressive play by SC today.
Absolutely, man. This kid needs a medal or something already. He has put his team back on the scoreboard. They now have a win, and with the +4 that goes into their negative indicator where they already have several warnings, this is really, really important.
For Axiom-Acer, it's a little bit annoying. I don't think that they really expected to just continue winning match after match, but being all-killed, that is a different story. You always want to at least win 2 maps, 3 maps to make sure that you have a good indicator.
It's a blow to your pride as well to get all-killed. It's a rough feeling. For them, yeah, this is not as important for them to have lost. It's not as impactful, for example, as if FXOpen had lost. That would have been basically the end of them. FXO now kind of gets back onto the board, but at the same time, Acer is not at that dominant first-place position anymore.
Exactly. So Axiom-Acer, they can definitely suffer loss, but for them the big problem really is that being all killed also means that they are going to lose 4 indicator points here, which is a big deal that which we will see later on in the ranking, of course.
Really important too, Leonuk does not have to play, so he doesn't have to show any builds potentially for his Codas match coming up. The same is true of Gumiho will go into the round of 16 obviously a little bit later. And FXOpen doesn't show a lot of builds in general. Hurricane doesn't come out, so nobody can study Hurricane's play for the next FXOpen match. So getting an all-kill has so many different benefits, from the indicator to hiding players,
that's true,
to giving a player a lot of exposure and getting his name out there like SC just got. So FXOpen cannot be happier. There's literally nothing better that could have happened for them today.
Yeah, so an all-kill for Team FXOpen, and that puts them back on track. We will see in the ranking later on how much that affects their standing, and after already losing 2 of their matches in Week 1 and Week 2, they must be really happy here. Of course, we are going to have also an interview not only with Choya, the coach, but also with the MVP of the day, which is SC.
He's actually crying, he's so happy. See what Choya has to say. His team currently getting back onto the scoreboard.
일단 2연패 했을 때도 그냥 팀원들이 연습을 너무 열심히 한 상황이어서 저희가 아무 말도 혼내지 않고.
It has been a really rough season after being like the 2-time champion last year. They lost 2 times already in this season. He wasn't worried too much on the other hand because his players were practicing really hard and he expected to do them do well in the future. He's really happy though that SC was doing well today, and it shows how much he really practiced with the team. He's also very thankful for the all-kill here.
횟집에 가서 선수들에게 또 회식.
It's just inspiring play, really, from SC. Playing from behind in so many of these games, and his multitasking, his decision-making, his engagements. Conscientious decision to make more Marines than siege tanks and use that against Ryung in the final game. You know, he was intentionally cutting the siege tank production down.
Yeah, when Ryung lost all of those medivacs and couldn't heal his units after stimming over and over again, that was the moment where SC decided to even move into siege up tanks.
So what was the reason behind selecting SC first is what he's been asked here, so what Choya has to say about that.
저희 팀에서 연습을 제일 열심히 하는 선수가 남기웅 선수인데 남기웅 선수보다 더 열심히 하더라고요.
As we mentioned earlier, he didn't make it through the preliminary rounds, so-called B. So Choya says that this is the main reason, because he's the hardest worker in the team, in his opinion, and he practices the most. So after he wasn't able to qualify for today, he at least expected 1 or 2 wins from SC today, and that's one of the main reasons why he sent him out. It was also surprising for Choya that SC was able to all-kill, but he of course was really happy about it.
Yeah, this is exactly what FXOpen needed. This is got to be, you know, the best feeling ever for Choya. He's like, I put you out here because you worked the hardest, you showed how hard you worked, you got the all-kill that we needed.
Yeah.
Now let's see what SC here has to say. The MVP, of course, getting the all-kill. He came into today's match thinking, like, let's kill at least 1 player. You know, he feels he was a little bit lucky. And he's very happy about he was able to not only bring his team to victory, but to get the all kill.
It's just this momentum that you build up. Once you have that momentum and you really feel good after winning like 1 or 2 games, you feel on top of the world and that you can achieve everything. Suddenly all these subtle things just go a little bit better for you.
누군지도 모르고 경기만 한 거예요. 어떤 선수인지도 모르고. 예.
He said that the third match against Hart was actually the most difficult of the matches that he played today.
올킬할 수 있을 거란 생각을 했어요.
And once he beat Hart, he thought that he might actually be able to get the all kill.
이제 이 선수석에서 경기를 안 치르면서 마음고생이 심했을 텐데 다시 한번 축하 말씀드리고 그럼 앞으로 각오한 말씀 한번 들어보도록 하겠습니다. 이번 시즌 각오.
So, just what are your goals for the season?
동안 좀 방황을 하다 왔는데 그만큼 더 열심히 해서
He says
다음 예선
that he played another game for 200 days. We all know what game that is. Came back.
예.
And
좋은 성적 될 테니까
he says he's going to practice harder.
좋게 봐주세요.
네, 알겠습니다. 자, 그리고 또 마지막으로 이영석 감독까지 이야기를 한번
And he hopes
해보죠.
the fans like
이영석
view him
감독,
in like a positive light.
지난 시즌 우승팀이 좀
You know,
이연패
he's
날려서
practicing
맡고
really,
계시는데
really hard
오늘
right now.
김승철
It
선수의
definitely shows.
승리에도 힘입어서
Joya mentioned it earlier. He said that he is practicing the most in the entire team right now, and you could see that today. And him stating that he even wants to increase it is, of course, pretty interesting and will show us quite a lot of the games in the GSTL since he's not participating individually. Choi, on the other hand, is now just talking a little bit about FXO, and he says that the team is a bit of a slow starter. Every single time they were champion, he felt that they started very slow into the season, and he wants to carry the momentum of the victory today into the rest of the season.
팀원들에게 항상 고맙고요.
He's also not really worried all too much because, as he mentioned earlier, his players are practicing quite a lot, preparing for their games.
You know, Choya has so much to say.
그 선수들뿐만이 아니라 송재경 선수라든지 김승철 선수라든지 아니면
When we were champions, we only used Lucky, Leenock, Hurricane, and Gumio. But this season we have some other players that they want to use, you know, just outside of those core 4 players.
He feels that the team is just a little bit more stronger and also has more depth to it. Something that they can use in the rest of their team matches.
축하드리고요. 자,
Yeah, so very interesting what both of them have to say there.
That's, you know, Choya has matured so much since when he used to be running around and like messing with the coach's hair and around the suit. Now he's always very professional. He looks very nice in the suit. And he's made so many good choices for this team. This is the reason why he was selected as Coach of the Year, because he always makes the right choices, the right maps. Yep. And in this case, you know, just choosing the player who's practiced the hardest as a starting player, knowing they need to get as many points as possible, proved to be the right choice, and SC came through for the team.
Of course, they're still in a position where they only won 1 match out of 3, so they have to be very careful going into the rest of the season, and we're going to see that in the standing in just a few seconds. But at this point, everything is going well. So now preparing for the next match has to be a priority for the team. Of course, always disregarding the 2 players that are currently participating in the individual league in Code S. But yeah, for the team league, at least today, everything went according to plan.
Yeah, very well done by SC. Just extremely great play. Let's take a look at how he beat them and in what order he destroyed every single player he faced today.
Yep. 3 Terran versus Terran. He played a TVT versus MMA versus Harden versus Ryan. The only non-Terran player to appear today was Mia, the Zerg on Whirlwind that could mod best at SC with a 4.
He destroyed, you know, Mia so hard in that game. Mia very crushed by this, and I think that we will probably see Mia again next time, but for now, I guess he's really having a hard time.
Mia is 0-7. He's 0-7. He didn't win a single game in the GSTL just yet.
Let's take a look, of course, at the current standings. This puts the 3 teams at 2-1. Up there, Axiom-Acer falls from 1st to 3rd with their -2, with a, of course, -4 to their +2 they had earlier.
FXO, on the other hand, is still at the bottom of the rankings here. This might, of course, change over the next few days when we have the rest of the matches of the 3rd week being played.
Yeah, Prime, MVP, and LGIM are the ones that are kind of fighting for that next spot, and that's going to shift around in our next week of GSTL.
And next Friday, we have our next match going on with LGIM facing MVP. That's going to be an interesting match. And then, of course, on Saturday, we have Prime versus Enesosa.
So all of these 2 matches are really going to kind of put us into the final standings where we can tell who is going where.
Especially Enesosa. They're the punching bag of the league at this point. They were all killed twice. And this is their 3rd game, and they have to go up against a team who has all killed in this season, with Björn performing an all kill.
Yep, very true. And this season has been so exciting already. I mean, you know, we say it's a season of all kills, but when you have a season like this, it really puts the spotlight on some of these players who aren't playing individual league, who can't qualify necessarily. Sound, for example, did qualify, but before that, he had not, been as known.
Think about SC. He didn't qualify. SC didn't qualify. A lot of the other players that we saw today did not qualify for Korea or didn't even participate in the Korea qualifier. So it's really nice that they get a little bit of exposure here. But guys, this basically puts an end to our week, to the GSTL week. Don't forget about Code S starting on a Tuesday once again, and we'll be back with LGM versus MVP on Friday. See you then. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Bye-bye.
Drive, gain, relief, triumph. 4 years, 4 kids later down the line. My progression is my profession.